You must come off. Listen. You're jumping the camera. You must get off. You're jumping the camera. No, you must get off.
That's a big crowd, isn't it? Great crowd.
We welcome viewers right now from Channel 4 who have just joined us, and let's also say a special hello to viewers who are watching us on closed-circuit television in the United States, in places like Boston, where in actual fact the Dublin team we gather are watching this afternoon, in New York, in Chicago, in Toronto, in San Francisco, and also in Hartford and in Cleveland. Good afternoon to you all.
Well, here we are in Drumtariff for the 1987 Duhallow football final. Teams just about to line up behind the Newmarket Pipe Band. The Kanturk team already lining up behind their captain, Tom Welsh, and the Rockchapel team about to come across the field, having a final consultation over there before they go into the final. These teams meeting in the Duhallow football final for the first time ever. In fact, they've only met twice in the last 20 years in the championship, and Kanturk have one victory and Rockchapel one victory, so they're going in even terms in that regard. Rockchapel won this championship 2 years ago in 1985 when they beat Cascade in the final, and it's 25 years since Kanturk had their last championship victory. That was in 1962 when they defeated Knocknagree in Mill Street. The Rockchapel team now lining up behind Jerry Casey, who plays at midfield in today's game. Tom Welsh, the Kanturk captain, plays at centre half back in his team. A huge crowd here in Drumtariff today for the game. The first final to be played in Drumtariff. First major occasion here since the pitch was opened 2 years ago. Great deal of tension here today. Kanturk have already lost the hurling final, beaten recently by Lismire, and there's great responsibility on their shoulders today to gain one title from a marvellous year's participation. Kanturk team in green nearer to the camera. The Rockchapel team in maroon. And the line-outs in goal for Kanturk, Kieran Fitzgerald, right full-back Ned McCarthy, full-back John Keneally, left full-back Dennis Crammon, right half-back Gerard O'Sullivan, centre half-back and captain Tom Welsh, left half-back Pat Galvin. At midfield, Edward Gainey and Jerome Welsh. The half-forward line, on the right, Neely Galvin, centre half, Tim Burke, and on the left, Emmett Cronin. Full forward line, on the right, James Healy, full forward, Pat Smith, and on the left, Timothy Healy. And the Rockchapel line out in goal, Jeff Collins. The full-back line, Joe Carroll, Gerard O'Mahony and Joe Murphy. The half-back line, Sean Murphy, Danny Guinea and Tom O'Callaghan. Midfielders, Seamus Kirtland and Jerry Casey, who was captain of the team. The half-forward line, Jerry O'Mahony, Tony O'Mahony and Joe Casey. And the full-forward line, Anton O'Mahony, Dennis O'Mahony and John Murphy. Well, Rockchapel seeking their 5th duhallow football title today. Their previous victories having been in 1976, 1977, 1980 and 1985, and Kanturk seeking their 4th title, having previously won in 1954, 1957 and 1962. An ideal day for the game. No sun and no wind, very mild afternoon last Sunday in September. And as I say, a huge crowd here to see the first clash of these teams in a divisional final. And this year's championship already, Rockchapel have beaten Borby, Newmarket and Kishkane, while Kanturk dethroned the reigning divisional champions, Ballydesmond, who defeated them in last year's final and beat Drumtariff in the semi-final. The referee for today's game, Richard Murphy of Lyre, out there now in the middle of the field. And the rival midfielders pacing around, Jerry Casey and Seamus Curtin for Rockchapel. Edward Geaney and Jerome Welsh for Kanturk. And in a moment the players will be standing for attention for the national anthem. Newmarket Pipe Band have a long association with Duhallow finals, hurling and football finals, going back now indeed more than 20 years. attention before the throw-in. A lot at stake for both these teams here today. Kanturk wondering whether they can break that hoodoo that's been with them for a quarter of a century, since 1972. Rockchapel trying to win their first title since 1955. Danny Ganey for Rockchapel sends it up the field. And that's his Anthony O'Mahony, and this is Decky O'Mahony, and Decky O'Mahony passes in to John Murphy, and John Murphy had the goal for Rockchapel. Well, Rockchapel certainly started in style. Anthony O'Mahony to Decky O'Mahony and to John Murphy. And John Murphy came on the Rockchapel team as a substitute in the semi-final and had a few very good points in the closing stages of their game against Kiscane. And certainly they've started in most impressive fashion today. And now this is Joe Casey with the ball for Rockchapel, and Joe gets a kick up the field. And that's Anthony O'Mahony racing for it. But it's gone out over the line, and Dennis Cremin, the Kanturk cornerback, taking the kick out into the middle of the field. Jerome Welsh jumping for it. And this is Tony O'Mahony for Rockchapel. Tony sent it up the field. Dennis Cremin running for it. Dennis Cremin with Anthony O'Mahony tackling, and it's a free out for Kanturk to be taken by the fullback John Keneally. Dennis Cremin came to that ball, held it well. And then won a free as he was tackled by Anthony O'Mahony, and John Keneally now kicking the ball into the middle of the field. Edward Gainey about to jump for it, but it goes down. And this is Tim Burke, and Tim Burke sends it into Emmett Cronin, and Emmett Cronin taking a kick, and the ball goes wide. Well, Rockchapel took their first chance. Kanturk have failed in their first chance. A good movement with Tim Burke getting the ball from that free down the field by John Keneally, and then transferring it to Emmett Cronin, who kicked it wide. 2 minutes gone, 1-0 in favour of Rockchapel. The ball out into the centre of the field. This is Joe Casey for Rockchapel. Joe sends the ball over to the far side of the field. Pat Galvin and Johnny O'Mahony. This is Tom Welsh from Kanturk. Tom gets it back to Edward Gainey. Edward hops it in his boot. He's been challenged by John Murphy for Rockchapel, and then Edward gets in his kick, and Tom O'Callaghan punches it up. Judd O'Sullivan for Kanturk, and the ball goes out over the line. Then Joe Casey was there for Rockchapel, and it was off Judd O'Sullivan's boot. The ball went, and so it's a sideline kick for Rockchapel, which has been taken by Tom O'Callaghan. Tom O'Callaghan, left half back for Rockchapel, taking this kick, and Tom kicks it over, and it goes into Decky O'Mahony, and Decky being challenged by John Keneally. He turns sharply and drops the ball over the bar. And Rockchapel a goal and a point ahead as Decky O'Mahony made no mistake with that shot. Getting it from Tom O'Callaghan's sideline kick. And the Kanturk goalkeeper, Kieran Fitzgerald, placing the ball for the kick out. 4 minutes gone. Kieran Fitzgerald's kick out into the middle of the field. Jerome Welsh for Kanturk, and Jerome is tackled there by both Jerry Casey and Seamus Curtin. And so it's a free to Kanturk, and Tom Welsh, the centre half back, to take it. Tom Welsh from Kanturk. Tim Burke brings it down with one hand and then loses the ball to Danny Ganey, and Danny is a bit of hard luck with the ball as it slips away from him over the line, and so it's a sideline ball for Kanturk to be taken by John O'Sullivan, 35 yards out from the goal. And George takes it into the centre, high jumping for it there. And it's Tom O'Callaghan who brings it down, and Tom hops it and then gets it out into the middle of the field, into vacant space. Racing for it, John Murphy from Rockchapel with Ned McCarthy. John Murphy gets it back to Tony O'Mahony for Rockchapel, and Tony sent it into the centre. And Decky O'Mahony at full forward but playing far out. Gets it back to Joe Casey. And Joe Casey takes his kick, and this time it goes wide. Well, very lively stuff in the opening minutes of this Duhallow final. 5 minutes gone. Kanturk leading 1-1-0. Kieran Fitzgerald taking the kick out from Kanturk. That's John O'Sullivan from Kanturk. It's fisted down by Joe Casey. Ned McCarthy gets it. Ned kicks it. Tim Burke going for it. Danny Ganey behind him. And Tim wins the free. This is John O'Sullivan coming down from his half-back position to take the free for Kanturk. Almost exactly from where they got a free sideline kick a few moments ago. Goes over there. James Healy is going up for it. John Welch has it. And John is looking up his options, but it goes into Jeff O'Sullivan. To Jeff Collins and Joe Murphy. And the ball is blocked down there. Neely Galvin racing for it. And it's a sideline ball for Rockchapel. Being taken by Joe Murphy. Out into the centre. John Murphy gets it up a bit. It's Tony O'Mahony. That's Seamus Curtin. And that's up to Decky O'Mahony. Very much in the play since the game started, and Decky punching it. Well, I thought it was going over, but Kieran Fitzgerald got it out for Kanturk. And there's a tussle going on for it there. John Keneally is there, and Anton Mahoney was there as well, and it's a free out for Kanturk, and the goalkeeper Kieran Fitzgerald coming out to take it. Kieran Fitzgerald's kick coming into the middle of the field, and now that's Johnny Casey. Gets it over to Anthony O'Mahony. Rockchapel playing very well in these opening minutes, but Anthony loses the ball. Johnny Casey, Tim Burke tackling there, but Johnny got in his kick, and that's Pat Galvin who gets it down the field for Kanturk, and that's Tim Burke, centre half forward, playing over on the far side at the moment. Gets it down, and this is Tom O'Callaghan who gets it up to Seamus Curtin. Seamus's kick is blocked down by Jerome Welsh. Johnny Casey gets it back to Joe Murphy, and Joe Murphy left-footed up the field towards John Murphy with Ned McCarthy. But John breaks away, and he's going in, and he's going to go for a point, I think. But he carries it right across the goal, and he's being challenged there by Tom Welsh. Got a tug there by Tom Welsh as he was moving across, seemingly trying to get in a position to kick for a point, and tackled by Tom Welsh. And so it's a free kick to Rockchapel. And it's been taken by John Murphy. It's been taken by Joe Casey. And Joe kicks the ball over the bar. 9 minutes gone. It's 1-2 for Rockchapel. No score as yet for Kanturk. Once again, Kieran Fitzgerald with the kick out for Kanturk. Coming into the middle of the field, and Jerome Welsh, but it's Seamus Curtin who fielded that very well, sending it down. Eamon McCarthy, but it's John Murphy in front of him, and it's a free in. And that was Ned McCarthy and John Murphy, and Ned gave a little push as John went for the ball, and so it's a free in, and Joe Casey with the ball now, placing it a few yards in from the sideline. Well, the question is, will Joe attempt to go for a point from this angle, or will he drop it into the square, hoping that maybe Decky O'Mahony, who's playing very well at full forward, will go for it. John Murphy running out there. Joe goes for the score. He gets it back, and it goes wide. Well, Kanturk goalkeeper Kieran Fitzgerald came for it, but realised at the last moment that it was going across the goal and harmlessly wide, and so Kieran takes the kick out into the middle of the field. And that's Judd O'Sullivan for Kanturk, down between Danny Guinea and Tim Burke. But up comes Pat Smith, and there's a free to Kanturk as Pat Smith was fouled. Johnny Casey with the ball, and referee Richard Murphy having a word there with Rockchapel midfielder Seamus Curtin. 10 minutes gone, the score 1-2 for Rockchapel. No score as yet for Kanturk. And this is Pat Galvin. Kanturk left half back, out to take the kick, and Pat drops a high one down in towards the goal mouth region, and it's punched away. Neely Galvin got his fist to it, and before anyone else could get to the ball, it veered away wide. And so Jeffrey Collins, the Rockchapel goalkeeper, placing the ball for the kick, and Richard Murphy, the referee, calling the players out beyond the 21 yards line. Jeff Collins' kick coming out, Tim Burke fists it down. Now it's Tom O'Callaghan, but Tom loses it in a tangle of players there, and it's a free in for Kanturk. It's a free in for Kanturk, and this is Timothy Healy. Timothy, who was very accurate with his frees in the semi-final against Drumtariff, now hoping to get Kanturk's first score on the board after 12 minutes. The ball more or less in front of the goal, about 35 yards out, and Timothy kicks it, and it's Kanturk's. Oh no, it's gone wide. Well, Kanturk having missed some chances there. Timothy Healy drives that ball wide, and that's not Timothy's usual form. He was dead accurate with the frees against Drumtariff in the semi-final. As I said, maybe the tension is taking a bit of the toll on the Kanturk team at the moment. Jumping it out, Edward Gainey. It breaks to Johnny Casey, and Johnny sends it right-footed up the field. John Keneally chasing it, and John gets it, and it breaks away. And this is John Murphy for Rockchapel, and it breaks away from John again, very tight marking up there, and it's a free in for Rockchapel. John Murphy grounded after losing possession of the ball, and so John Murphy seems to have picked up a leg injury there. And Joe Casey preparing to take the kick, and will this be another Rockchapel point to push them 6 points clear? They're 5 up at the moment, 1-2 to no score for Kanturk. Johnny Casey about 25 yards out, or Joe Casey I should say, about 25 yards out, and Johnny drops it over the bar, and Rockchapel are 6 points clear with 13 minutes gone in the Duhallow final. It's 1-3 for Rockchapel, no score for Kanturk. Well, certainly a marvellous start by Rockchapel in this Duhallow final. And there were people maybe who doubted the scoring ability of the Rockchapel forwards, but there's nothing at all wrong with their play. So far they're playing very energetically, picking off their scores very well. Edward Gainey for Kanturk, and a tangle of players out there, and Edward gets it out to Judd O'Sullivan. Judd gets it down towards Neely Galvin with Tom O'Callaghan tackling, and Tom sends him out over the line, but Tom pushed from behind, and so it's a free to Kanturk, and Judd O'Sullivan playing well in the right half-back position, coming down to take this free. And this is the third kick from this region which Kanturk have got, and this time George sent it into the square, and Timothy Healy went up for it. It goes down there, and it's cleared out on the far side. Pat Shaw Galvin. And that's Tom Welsh kicking the ball down. Neely Galvin lets it go to James Healy. And James takes his kick, and it goes in towards the goal mouth, and It goes in towards the goal mouth. Timothy Healy was coming across. And it's a free into Kanturk from the 14-yard line. At a bit of an angle, but very, very much within scoring range. And surely Timothy Healy will be hoping to put this over the bar to pick off Kanturk's first point. And Timothy makes no mistake with this one. And so it's 2-3 for Rockchapel, 1 point for Kanturk. 15 minutes gone in the first half of the duhallow football final of 1987. With Rockchapel having got off to a marvellous start, playing with more confidence than Kanturk since the game began. But now that they've got their first score, Kanturk will be hoping to settle down and come back into the game. Jeff Collins out into the middle of the field. Jordan Welsh, it breaks down to Jerry Casey. Jerry Casey sent it across to Jerry O'Mahony. Jerry left-footed. Pat O'Sullivan, now it's Ned McCarthy, Ned Gainey, Edward Gainey has it. And Edward gets his kick down on the far side of the field, just inside the line. And that was Sean Murphy there, Jerry O'Mahony, Danny Guinea for Rockchapel. Danny sends it up, and this is Joe Casey, and Joe Casey gets it back to Seamus Curtin, and Seamus is tackled there by Jerome Welsh. And it goes back to Tom Welsh, and out to John O'Sullivan. And George gets in his kick and comes down to Pat Smith. And Pat Smith being tackled there by Gerard O'Mahony and getting a free. And so Edward Gainey coming down to take the free. Edward Gainey, will Edward put all his strength behind it and try to get it over the bar? Will he just drop it in? More likely drop it into the goal, and he does. And it's punched away there by Tom O'Callaghan. And Pat Galvin comes in for Kanturk, and Pat has it, and Pat drops it over a short one. But this is Sean Murphy for Rockchapel, and Sean gets it up. And this is Joe Casey gets it up into the centre, and John Murphy gets away with the ball, and John Murphy is going in a run. He looks to size up his options, but he's going for the score, and he shoots it wide. Well, that was a disappointment for John. He might have shot for the point, indeed he might have shot for the goal, but he shot it low and it went wide. And that was indeed a let-off for Kanturk. A great jump there by John Welsh in the middle of the field from Kieran Fitzgerald's kick out. A slight push from Seamus Curtin, and that gives Kanturk a free in the middle of the field, which Tom Welsh, the Kanturk captain, is taking. Tom gets it down to Tim Burke. Tim Burke gets it across to John Welsh. John gets it down to Emmett Cronin, and Emmett takes a kick, and the ball goes wide. Well, Kanturk forwards being forced to kick under pressure, not getting much time from this strong Rockchapel defence. Jeff Collins' kick out into the middle of the field, fisted down by Jerome Welsh. Tim Burke, Neely Galvin now for, well, it's Johnny Casey who breaks away for Rockchapel, gets it up the field. It's John Keneally, the fullback, out tussling with Decky O'Mahony. Ball breaks down, Dennis Cremin going for it with Anton O'Mahony. Anton gets there first and is fouled by Dennis Cremin, and so it's a free in for Rockchapel. A free in for Rockchapel as Anton O'Mahony fouled there on the far side of the field, and Joe Casey, who's been taking all the Rockchapel frees from every side of the field, now on the far side, about 30 yards out on the sideline. And Joe shoots it, and the ball goes over the bar. A great shot from Joe Casey. And that's the kind of a score that boosts the team's confidence, and that much certainly boosts Rockchapel's confidence further now as they lead by 1-4 to 1 point for Kanturk. A 6-point lead for Rockchapel with 20 minutes gone in the first half. Up goes John Welsh, but he drops the ball, and it's Jerry Casey coming in there for Rockchapel. And Pat Galvin. Pat Galvin found there. And Tom Welsh takes the free for Kanturk. Tom Welsh, a low one down to Emmett Cronin. Emmett hops the ball, then gets it across to George Sullivan, playing down to Edward Gainey. And Edward loses the ball, and Jerry Casey gets it across to Sean Murphy, who gets it out, and it's Tom Welsh. Down here to Neely Galvin, back to Tom Welsh, and Tom Welsh takes a kick, and it's dropping into the square. This could be dangerous, but it breaks to the side, and Tim Burke is racing out for it. Tackled there by Joe Murphy, or Tom Carroll, I should say, and it's a kick in, and it goes wide. Well, that was Joe Carroll who did some good tackling there in the corner, and eventually it came out to James Healy, who shot it wide. And so 1-4 to 1 point in favour of Rockchapel. Not Sean Murphy had it for a moment, but Edward Gainey now has it for Kanturk. Kanturk putting on a bit of pressure now, and the referee awards a free to Kanturk and Timothy Healy. Timothy Healy with the kick and dropping it in, and it comes into the goal mouth, and up goes James Healy, and the ball is on the ground, but it's Joe Carroll who came out momentarily there, and then it's Neely Galvin, but it's blocked down by Jerry Casey, who's playing all over the place, and he sends it up to his brother Joe, and Joe sends the ball up the field, and Decky O'Mahony, Anthony O'Mahony it was who went for it, and ball broke away from him, and it's a free out to Kanturk. And it's John Keneally who kicks it. Emmett Cronin for Kanturk. Being challenged there by Sean Murphy, but Emmett is still going. And he gets a right-footed kick down the field. Tom O'Callaghan is preparing to get under it, but it's James Healy who comes in there, being challenged by Jerry Casey. And James is being pushed farther out from goal. But John Welsh takes a high kick, and this is landing into the square, and it's fisted out there by Tom O'Callaghan. And this is Edward Gainey, and Edward tries a short kick, but there's no way through those Rockchapel backs, and the ball breaks away out to the far side. And it's a free out. Well, I'm not sure what it is at the moment. The referee is calling two players. The referee is having a word with Sean Murphy and Tom Welsh. And Kanturk. Kanturk preparing for a sideline kick. And now we're back in the play with Tim Burke sending the ball over to Emmett Cronin and back to Tim Burke. Tim Burke into Timothy Healy, and Timothy drops the ball wide, and certainly so far it's not Kanturk's day as far as scoring is concerned. They've come well back into the play. They put pressure on the Rockchapel defence, but the scores aren't coming. Rockchapel defence playing soundly, making them kick the ball quickly. Maybe an element of panic coming into the Kanturk play now. The ball drops out, and Jerry Casey playing a great game for Rockchapel at midfield and coming back to help the defence. Dennis Cremin, but it's Anthony O'Mahony. Anthony O'Mahony in front of Dennis Cremin, who got that ball, drops it up, and the ball drops down. And this is Ned McCarthy for Kanturk, being challenged by John Murphy. And it's a free out to Kanturk. A kick down the field. Tim Burke was there. Ball broke away. Came off Sherman Welsh. Now it goes down to Joe Carroll for Rockchapel, and Joe kicks it into the centre of the field. Tom Welch for Kanturk. Neely Galvin, Tom O'Callaghan. Tom O'Callaghan gets it into the centre of the field. It's Tom Welch for Kanturk. And Tom gets it down to this side of the field. But Joe Murphy is there, but Tim Burke comes out for it. The ball breaks down, and Pat Smith had it when it went over the line. Pat Smith being closely policed there by the Rockchapel fullback Gerard O'Mahony, and Pat went over the line with the ball, and this is Joe Murphy taking the kick for Rockchapel out into the centre of the field. John Welch for Kanturk. James Healy now for Kanturk. Tom O'Callaghan in possession. That's Gerard O'Sullivan for Kanturk, who breaks away. And is penalised for overholding the ball. And it's a free for Rockchapel, and it's Joe Murphy, the cornerback, who was out here taking it. Great excitement now. That's Joe Murphy who sends the ball up, and that's Seamus Curtin who gets it, and that's Tony O'Mahony who gets it in, Ned McCarthy, and that's John Murphy for Rockchapel, and John is tackled there, and it's a free out for Kanturk. Kieran Fitzgerald's kicking to the middle of the field. John Welch has it, being tackled by Seamus Curtin. And it's a free to Kanturk. Pat Galvin taking the free, and Sean Murphy was there, but Timothy Healy has it for Kanturk, and Timothy drops it in towards the square. Neely Galvin fits it back, and it goes wide. (1-4) for Rockchapel, 1 point for Kanturk. Almost 28 minutes gone, nearing half time. Rockchapel must be pleased with their performance and pleased with that 6-point lead that they're hold at this stage, nearing half time, and it will be a question as to whether Kanturk can now do anything to pull back that lead before half time and give themselves a psychological boost. This is Joe Murphy, the Rockchapel cornerback, taking the kick. And Joe takes it out. John Welch goes up for it for Kanturk, loses it, recovers, and then gets it out. But it's John Murphy for Rockchapel who gets it back there to Seamus Curtin for Rockchapel, and Seamus takes the kick into Kieran Fitzgerald. Kieran out to John Kennedy, the fullback, and John kicks it down to this side of the field, and it's going to go over the line. And that's a sideline ball for Rockchapel and Tom O'Callaghan. Tom takes it, it stays close to the line, but it's a sideline ball. It's a sideline ball. Ned McCarthy for Kanturk gets it up to Gerard Sullivan. Gerard Sullivan. Johnny Casey. For Rockchapel being challenged by James Healy. And that's Neely Galvin, and Neely sends it across. There's Timothy Healy. Tim Burke has it. Tim Burke gets it out to Emmett Cronin. And Emmett is going to go for a score. No, he gets it in. Well, that's John O'Mahony, the Rockchapel fullback, clearing confidently out the field. John Kennedy for Kanturk, and it's a free up. A free up to Rockchapel.
Seamus, come back out. Come on, Seamus. Come on, Rockchapel. Keep on running.
And that's Joe Casey.
Come on, Rockchapel, play now.
Joe Casey sending it up. Anthony O'Mahony comes out for it. And Anthony gets it, and Anthony kicks it left-footed in, but Ned McCarthy gets it for Kanturk. And Ned is fouled there by John Murphy. And it's a free out for Kanturk. And that's Tom Welsh, the Kanturk centre half-back. Sending it over to this side of the field, and that's Tim Burke. Going for the ball, being challenged by Johnny Casey. Gets it up to Ned Gainey. Danny Gainey for Rockchapel behind him. Then Edward gets it over to Tim Burke. And Tim Burke gets it to James Healy. And James drops it over the bar. And that's a point for Kanturk. That was James Healy, so the score 1-4 to 2 points. On the half-time mark now, 1-4 for Rockchapel. 2 points for Kanturk as Jeff Collins kicks the ball out into the middle of the field, and so the half-time whistle goes. A first half dominated by Rockchapel, who lead by 5 points, 1-4 to 2 points. Kanturk did come back into the game in the second quarter after Rockchapel had very much dominated the opening 15 minutes. But Kanturk found the scoring hard to get, had a number of wides, and so they finished the first half 5 points in arrears, and Rockchapel now certainly in a strong position to take the Duhallow title. But the story of the second half still remains to unfold, and Kanturk will undoubtedly be making a very strong effort to get down the score when the second half starts.
Tim Buck is playing well. He's getting into the game, like, isn't he?
Yeah.
Huh?
Getting the ball on right, yes.
But the ball, it's fine. It's hard to do. Right, huh? Very strong with like that.
We're more alert to, the move, in time to
Get a big start down the second half.
Well, the teams are back in the field for the start of the second half. And the question everybody is asking here in Drumthariff is, will Kanturk be able to make an impression in that Rockchapel lead of 5 points? Richard Murphy, the referee, throws in the ball for the start of the second half. Jerry Casey had it, Edward Gainey had it, and it breaks down. And that's Danny Guinea for Rockchapel being closely tackled, and the Tim Burke gets in a kick on the ground. And that was Joe Carroll who got it out, and the ball is bobbing around the place out in the middle, but not anymore because Joe Casey has it for Rockchapel. And then it breaks down, and players in very close contact with each other now, but it's Tom O'Callaghan for Rockchapel. And Tom gets the kick out into the middle of the field, and that's James Healy for Kanturk. And James is breaking away with the ball and takes a kick, and the kick goes wide.
Come on, Kanturk, now give it a half. Come on, Kanturk. Come on, Kanturk. Come on out, John, where's your ball? Come on out, Seamus, get a put this one out.
Rockchapel goalkeeper Jeff Collins with the ball now, preparing for the kick out. Jeff's kick out comes out into the centre. John Welsh gets a hand to it. Edward Gainey has it for Kanturk. Breaking away with the ball, hopping it in his foot, and goes in, intended for Tim Burke, but it's Joe Carroll who comes to Rockchapel. And Joe gets his way out through a maze of players there, works the ball very well, comes out into the half-back line, kicks it down. John Murphy goes up for it with Ned McCarthy. John Murphy has it, and he's kicking it forward for Rockchapel, and that's Anthony O'Mahony trying to get to it, trying to kick it back to Joe Casey, but it's cleared out by Ned McCarthy to the far side of the field. James Healy has it for Kanturk, being chased by Tom O'Callaghan. James Healy going in a run, hopping the ball, getting it back, hopping it on his foot, and then taking his kick, and he drops it in, and it's in the net. And it was Neely Galvin who came in. The Rockchapel goalkeeper blocked the ball down from James Healy's kick, and then like a shot, Neely Galvin was in to punch the ball to the net, and so Kanturk have got a major boost, 1-4 to 1-2, and now there are only 2 points in it.
2.5 in the second half.
Little over 2 minutes gone in the second half, and Kanturk have got the major boost of a goal with the ball back into the centre of the field, and now it's a question of whether Rockchapel can regain their momentum. Jerry Casey has the ball, and Jerry Casey kicks it down. Pat Galvin, Anthony O'Mahony for Rockchapel, and Anthony kicks it across, and this is Joe Casey, and Joe Casey takes the kick and it drops in. Kieran Fitzgerald is coming out. John Keneally was there, and Decky O'Mahony fails of the confusion as John Keneally and Kieran Fitzgerald tried to get the ball for Kanturk. It broke loose, and Decky O'Mahony kicked it to the net. And Rockchapel 2-4, Kanturk 1-2, Rockchapel back 5 points in the lead. And this game is certainly throbbing now. Edward Gainey for Kanturk, and Edward gets it up. Edward gets it up to Neely Galvin, and Neely sent it across the goal. Neely obviously hoping to get through for another goal, but the ball went right across. Referee Richard Murphy goes in there and awards a free to Kanturk. Neely Galvin tackled. Tackle there after kicking the ball, and so it's Timothy Healy taking the kick for Kanturk, and he knocks a point off the Rockchapel lead. The score with 5 minutes gone in the second half. Rockchapel 2-4, Kanturk 1-3, 4 points in the difference. And those 2 goals have certainly got people talking. Coming in quick succession at either end of the field, Jeff Collins with a kick out for Rockchapel. Comes down Joe Casey. for Rockchapel, getting it across to Seamus Curtin. Seamus kicks it across the field. Johnny O'Mahony was there, but that's Emmett Cronin for Kanturk, and Emmett kicks Kanturk into attack. And Timothy Healy was there, but this is Joe Murphy. Kicks the ball out, and it goes to Anthony O'Mahony. And Anthony gets a push from Dennis Cremin, and it's a free to Rockchapel. And Joe Casey is coming across to take the kick. A very well contested final, plenty of excitement here. Joe Casey kicks it down towards the sideline. He's obviously looking for Anthony O'Mahony, and Anthony comes out. And the ball breaks away out over the line, and so it's a kick out from the Kanturk goal. Kieran Fitzgerald. It's Edward Gainey for Kanturk. And Edward gets it up along the ground. That's Joe Casey, who gets it across to Johnny Casey, but that's James Healy for Kanturk. And James Healy goes over near the sideline. He falls with the ball. He recovers, and he still goes away with it. He holds on to the ball, and then he passes it back to Tom Welsh, and Tom Welsh gets it across to his brother Jonathan Welsh, and Jonathan kicks it in towards the goal, going to the side, and is fisted in, but Jeff Collins is there. And Jeff kicks it out to the far side of the field where Joe Casey is waiting for it all alone. Not anymore. Judd O'Sullivan joins him, and Joe gets it along the ground. But it's Tom Welsh who gets it up now for Kanturk. Timothy Healy going for it, breaks it down. Timothy Healy gets the ball, being confronted by Joe Cardle, gets it up there, and it's Emmett Cronin who takes a kick, and Emmett drops it over the bar. A point for Kanturk. Now 3 points in it, 2-4 for Rockchapel, 1-4 for Kanturk. 5 minutes. 7 minutes gone in the second half. And for a while it was all Rockchapel, but Kanturk are after coming well back into the game. Not a great deal between the teams now, but there's 3 points on the scoreboard. High jumping in the middle of the field, and it's Tim Burke who gets the break, and Tim sends it across there towards James Healy, Joe Cardle for Rockchapel, and James Healy, and it's a free to Kanturk. James Healy. James Healy taking the free, and he drops it over the bar, and there's only 2 points in it. Sorry, it was Timothy Healy, of course. The two Healy brothers playing in either corner. That was Timothy Healy. 8 minutes gone in the second half. 2 points in the difference between the teams now. Rockchapel 2-4, Kanturk 1-5. Kick out by Jeff Collins, the Rockchapel goalie, into the middle of the field. Edward Gainey was there. Decky O'Mahony was there. As Decky who snaps the ball for Kanturk and for Rockchapel, and he's going to run. And he's fouled by James Healy. And James Healy playing at corner forward, but not anymore. He's out in the half line now for Kanturk. And Decky O'Mahony of the Rockchapel full forward, but now it's Joe Casey. Joe Casey to take the kick. And this is an important one for Rockchapel because Kanturk have been eating away at their lead. Can Rockchapel build it up again? And this time it goes over the bar. Joe Casey has increased Rockchapel's lead to 3 points again. 2-5 now to 1-5 with 10 minutes gone in the second half. A very exciting final. Kieran Fitzgerald's kick into the middle of the field. The ball broken down. Anthony O'Mahony comes for it. Got a slight push there, and so it's another free for Rockchapel. Joe Casey to take the kick. Well, this is about 40 yards out. Will Joe go for the point from this range, or will he just drop it in and hope that the forwards can finish it inside? He's going for the score, and he drops it in towards the goal, but it drops into Kieran Fitzgerald, the Kanturk goalie, who was challenged by John Murphy as he tried to break out of the square, and so it's a free out to Kanturk. Kieran Fitzgerald's kick. John Welsh blocks it down. Edward Gainey drops in, and fouled there by Jerry O'Mahony, and the referee is having a word with Jerry for that foul on Edward Gainey.
Come on, Kanturk! Come on!
As Pat Galvin waits to take the kick, and Pat sends Kanturk into the attack. Timothy Healy coming to it with Joe Cardle, and so it's another free for Kanturk. And with 3 points in the difference, a chance now for Timothy Healy to knock a point off that Rockchapel lead. In a good position, about 35 yards out from the goal, and Timothy will drop this in, but he drops it close. He drops it low, and Jeff Collins has no trouble in dealing with it and just sends it out into the middle of the field. Edward Gainey for Kanturk, being challenged there by Joe Casey, but gets it up on the far side. Tim Burke is racing for it towards the line, and Tim Burke has it very close to the line. Being challenged by Joe Carroll, being challenged by Tom O'Callaghan now. That's James Healy with the ball for Kanturk, and James gets a push, and so it's a free to Kanturk, and Tim Burke is going to take it. No, James Healy decides to take it, and Tim Burke runs back towards the centre. James Healy with the kick is coming across the goal mouth, and it's twisted back in, but the ball had gone wide. Timothy Healy tried to keep the ball in play, but it had gone out over the line before he got his fist to it. And so it's a kick out from the corner of the Rockchapel square by goalkeeper Jeff Collins. And Jeff kicks it to this side of the field. Tim Burke runs for it, gets it, turns, and then sends it across to Timothy Healy, and Tim is faced by Joe Carroll, but gets in his kick, and that's Joe Murphy. And it's a free to Rockchapel there, as Joe Casey was fouled going for the ball. Tom O'Callaghan. 3 points of the difference. 13 minutes gone in the second half. And the referee is coming up the field. I think he's going in for a word with his umpires. Something must have happened up there near the goal. And the referee having a word with Neely Galvin. And now it's back to the play again as Tom O'Callaghan kicks the ball, a long kick down, and it was Johnny Casey who got it there. It goes in. Kieran Fitzgerald comes out, and Kieran kicks it out, but it comes to Rockchapel forward. Tony O'Mahony. Tony drops it into the square, and Kieran Fitzgerald got his fist to it, but it went over the bar. Well, the goalkeeper was there, and so was Anthony O'Mahony. And it may have been Anthony who got the fish to it. And Jordan Welsh goes high for this one, but it's Seamus Curtin who gets it down for Rockchapel. Breaks away from Anthony O'Mahony, but it's Johnny Casey. And Johnny Casey eludes a tackle, and Johnny kicks it, and the ball goes across, and John Murphy is trying to keep it in play, and he does. He's being chased by Ned McCarthy, and he gets it back to Joe Casey, and Joe Casey kicks it across, and the ball goes wide. Tom Carroll now going on the Rockchapel team. Dickie O'Mahony sends it down to Anthony O'Mahony. Anthony O'Mahony back to Johnny O'Mahony. Johnny O'Mahony back to Dickie O'Mahony. And Dickie is kicking the ball in across the square. John Murphy comes in there. So does Tony O'Mahony. John Keneally gets the kick in, and it's a free out to... It's a free out to Kanturk. Well, it's Tim Burke for Kanturk across to Jerome Welsh, and Jerome sends Kanturk into the attack, but it's Joe Carroll coming across. Tom O'Callaghan has the ball now for Rockchapel. Tom gets his kick down to Seamus Curtin. Seamus hops it. He's been challenged by Joe O'Sullivan. He's been challenged by Timothy Healy, but he gets a good kick down the field, and that's Anthony O'Mahony with John Keneally coming across, and it's a free in. It's a free in to Rockchapel as Anthony was tackled there by John Keneally. Well, then Dickie O'Mahony has gone to centre half back for Rockchapel. Danny Ganey has gone off the team, and Tom Carroll is on the Rockchapel team, and Joe Casey misses the free, kicks it harmlessly wide, but Rockchapel are still 4 points ahead, 2-6 to 1-5. Now that's Tom Welsh, closely challenged there by Johnny O'Mahony, gets it up towards Pat Smith. In the middle of the field, Tim Burke racing for it on the far side. Joe Casey chasing him. Tim Burke gets it back to Joe O'Sullivan. Joe being challenged by John Murphy, and it goes away for a moment, but Seamus Curtin there for Rockchapel. Now it's Joe Casey who kicks it across, and this is Dennis Cremin for Kanturk, and Dennis Cremin gets it up to Emmett Cronin, and Emmett gets away with the ball, being chased by Sean Murphy, and Emmett Cronin gets in his kick, and it's going in towards the goal, jumping for it in the goal mouth, and the ball goes out towards the line. Joe Carroll gets it out. Seamus Curtin is there for Rockchapel, and Seamus tried to get in a kick, but Emmett Cronin was coming across, and the referee adjudged that the kick was across Emmett Cronin, and so it's a free in for Kanturk, and Timothy Healy about to take it about 30 yards, 25 yards out from the goal, but at an angle, and Timothy probably will go for the point, and he does, and it's over the bar. A good score from Timothy Healy, reducing the margin again to 3 points. 2-6 now to 1-6 in favour of Rockchapel. 11 minutes to go on this Duhallow football final of 1987, and plenty of excitement and incident and good play here in Drumtariff, as these teams who have never met before in the final battle for the 1987 title. That's Jordan Welsh for Kanturk, surrounded by players there, but broke loose. Emmett Cronin, this is Sean Murphy for Rockchapel, and Sean is penalised, and so it's a free to Kanturk. James Healy, and James will undoubtedly try to send or Timothy Healy, sorry, will undoubtedly try to send this one over the bar from about 50 yards range, because every score counts now, and there's no certainty it would wind up in a score if it dropped in, but it does drop in, and it's Pat Smith who has it for Kanturk and gets it out to John Welsh. And the Rockchapel defence work it away. And that's Seamus Curtin, the Rockchapel midfielder, playing deep in defence at that time, who gets it down. John Keneally gets it up, and then John Murphy gets it down for Rockchapel. There's Tom Welsh for Kanturk. That was Gerard O'Sullivan actually for Kanturk, and wins a free, and John Keneally is placing the ball. 3 points of the difference, 10 minutes to go. That's Dickie O'Mahony now playing a centre half back. Dennis Cremin racing for it, but it goes out over the line. And Dennis Cremin taking the sideline kick. A thrilling Duhallow football final here in Drumthallop today. That's Jerome Welsh for Kanturk. Gets it back to Pat Galvin, and Pat's puck kick is blocked down by Johnny O'Mahony. Back to Jerome Welsh, who kicks it, and it's veering away out over the line, and so it's a sideline kick for Rockchapel, which may be taken by Joe Cardle. Yes, Joe Cardle, the player wearing the red headband, who takes the kick out into the middle of the field. Edward Gainey, but it's fisted away by Tony O'Mahony to John Murphy, and John sends Rockchapel into the attack. John Keneally has it, and it's a free out. John Keneally taking the kick for Kanturk. Edward Gainey on the far side of the field, and it's Tom O'Callaghan. It's Tom O'Callaghan down to Anthony O'Mahony. Anthony gets it into Tony O'Mahony, and Tony O'Mahony fouls the ball there, and so it's a free out to Kanturk. Seven minutes to go. Rockchapel leading by 3 points as Kieran Fitzgerald takes the kick into the centre of the field as Tom Welsh, who fields that ball well, sends Kanturk up into the attack. Tim Burke is racing for it, Joe Cardle behind him. Tim Burke takes a low kick in. It's Pat Smith, but that's Joe O'Mahony who gets the ball out. And this is James Healy for Kanturk, and James hopping the ball and eventually losing it as Tony O'Mahony kicks it out. But Edward Gainey takes a high kick, and it goes over the bar. A long distance point by Edward Gainey, narrowing the margin to 2 points. Rockchapel now 2-6, Kanturk 1-7, with a little over 6 minutes to go in this Duhallow football final. Jeffrey Collins with the kick to the side of the field. And that's Sean Murphy who gets it for Rockchapel. Sends it down. Jerome Welsh had it for Kanturk. Tom Welsh, I should have said, gets it across. James Healy running for it with Tom O'Callaghan, and Tom sends it down. And that's Anthony O'Mahony on the far side, and Anthony gets it back to Joe Casey, and Joe sends it in towards the goal mouth, and Kieran Fitzgerald, the Kanturk goalie, saves it. Kieran is on the ground, he still has the ball, and now he's tackled, and it's a free out from the goal mouth. A dangerous ball coming across there, but Kieran Fitzgerald held it well under pressure. Kieran Fitzgerald kicks it out. It's Tony O'Mahony who fits it down, but it's Pat Galvin for Kanturk. Up towards Tim Burke, running in front to Joe Carroll. Up to Edward Gainey, and Edward runs into a tackle from Sean Murphy. Edward Gainey kicks it in. It's Judd O'Mahony, the Rockchapel fullback, who has it and holds it safely. And that was an important catch by Judd O'Mahony as Kanturk threatened there. And it's a hot ball.
Come on, Alice, come on the goal!
It was to have been a free out, but there was dissent there and another foul committed or whatever. Timothy Healy with a shot is Tom O'Callaghan intercepts the pass, and Tom sends Rockchapel down into the attack, and it's Anthony O'Mahony, and Anthony gets it into John Murphy, and John Murphy is fouled, or is he? Yes, he is. The referee is signalling a free. Well, a free that went wrong for Kanturk on the opposite side of the field, and it looked very dangerous for Kanturk as Tom O'Callaghan got it down to John Murphy, and John Murphy has a reputation as a goal getter, and he was going in when he was fouled, and that. But it's a hot ball. It's a hot ball. I didn't quite see what happened. It looked as if John Murphy was fouled, but something else must have happened in there. John Wells had it for Kanturk, and now it's a free out for Kanturk. Ball kicked out by Tom Welsh. James Healy had it for Kanturk. Tim Burke and Joe Carroll racing for it. Sean Murphy, and it's Sean Murphy, and then Emmett Cronin comes in. And it's Emmett Cronin who gets it near the line, and Emmett down near the sideline, he gets it back to Pat Smith, and Pat hopping it on his foot, being challenged by Tony O'Mahony, being challenged by Sean Murphy, Emmett Cronin. But that's Tony O'Mahony coming away for Rockchapel, and Tony hops the ball a little casually and lets it behind him, and then kicks it out over the sideline, right down on top of us here. And it's a kick in for Kanturk. 3 minutes to go. 2 points between the teams. Tremendous excitement as Pat Galvin kicks that ball in, and it's Jerry Casey who comes away from Rockchapel. It's over there. It's Ned McCarthy now for Kanturk, being challenged by Joe Casey, and Joe kicks the ball out over the line, and so it's a sideline ball for Kanturk. Every kick counting now. The ball is quickly taken, but it's Seamus Curtin who gets it for Rockchapel, and Seamus Curtin drives it down the field. And John Keneally, the Kanturk fullback, sends the ball across the field. Emmett Cronin playing well for Kanturk. Emmett Cronin hops it and then gets away across with the ball, and he passes it to Judd O'Sullivan, and Judd O'Sullivan, the halfback, coming up, and he was challenged by John Murphy. And now it's Timothy Healy, and Timothy Healy drops the ball over the bar, and there's only a point in it. Well, it's the year of draws, and people wondering here now with just about a minute to go whether Kanturk can get the equalising point. It was Timothy Healy who got that one. Tremendous excitement here now. Jeff Collins taking the kick out for Rockchapel. Every touch of the ball is going to count between this and the final whistle. Jeff Collins out into the middle of the field. It comes down, and it's Tom Welsh who gets the ball for Kanturk, gets it up towards Tim Burke. Well, it's Judd O'Mahony, the Rockchapel fullback, who gets it, and Judd is fouled, and it's a free for Rockchapel. Judd O'Mahony is pulled there. Joe Carroll has the ball, and Joe waves his fist there at Judd O'Mahony, saying, "Well done, you fought for that ball well," and so he did. And now Joe Carroll taking the kick for Rockchapel. Tremendous excitement, as I said. Rockchapel going down into the attack, but the ball is held by Dennis Cremin, and it's a free out for Kanturk. And this will surely be a last gasp effort for Kanturk, because there isn't much time to go now. John Keneally not delaying with the kick. John Keneally sent it out into the middle of the field. Decky O'Mahony brings it down, and Seamus Curtin snaps it for Rockchapel. Seamus Curtin has it, and it's a free up. There were Rockchapel players around him, and the referee judges that Seamus held the ball. And now it's Pat Galvin taking the free for Kanturk, and he takes it in. Joe Carroll is going up with the ball, bobs around there, and it's a Kanturkman who had it, but no, not anymore. It's Jerry Casey with a vital interception there, gets the ball and comes down the field. He's held by Pat Galvin. Now it's Jerry O'Mahony who gets it across to Joe Casey. Joe Casey is in the run, and the game is over. The game is over, and Rockchapel have held on for the point victory. 2-6 for Rockchapel, 1-8 for Kanturk. What a tremendous final we've had here in Drumtara. Tremendous excitement. Disappointment for Kanturk. They've lost their second divisional final this year. They lost the hurling final to Lismire. Now they've lost the football final. Now they've lost the football. Well, there's something happening here in front of us that shouldn't have happened. A man broke in over the wire. I don't know who he is. And there's some excitement on, but... Well, the stewards tried to stop him. Well, it's all over. A bit of needless excitement there. The tension has run very high during the game, but we had a fine sporting contest. And Kanturk, as I was saying, disappointed at losing their second final, but of course there's tremendous jubilation on the Rockchapel side. I see the chairman of the club in there, Bill Guinea, and the chairman of the Duhallow board is in there too, with the Duhallow trophy. Well, it was a hard-earned victory for Rockchapel. It looked at one stage as if they were going to win comfortably when they went 5 points clear after the first quarter of an hour, but Kanturk came back very strongly, especially in the second half. And every kick counted in a very, very exciting last quarter. But Rockchapel held on to win by that 1 point, their first victory since 1975, and that was only 2 years ago. And Kanturk still waiting, now a quarter of a century waiting for the Duhallow football title, and they must wait longer because they've lost this final here in Drumtara by just a 1 point margin today.
How's the trot now?
The camera catch that. The cameraman catch that. Look I mean, they're going to talk. I mean, you can all these things in the trailer. What? Water, darling. That's it, Martha, we'll be drinking tonight. Oh, no. What is it?
I would like, first of all, to thank both teams for the fantastic entertainment they gave us here this evening. I think you should have been out here on the sideline to appreciate the excitement of this particular game, and there is credit due to both teams. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you. I would like to pay tribute to the Drumtara Club for the preparation they put into the pitch here today, to thank our referee and his officials, and in particular I would like to congratulate Rockchapel on winning the trophy again, and in doing that I would like to commiserate with Kanturk. I'm sure that in spite of your thrills and excitement and everything else, a little sympathy must go out to them having lost both finals, but on behalf of us all I wish to congratulate Rockchapel. This is your day, and you contributed yourself to make this a fantastic victory for you. I would like to, on behalf of all of us, to send our good wishes to Den Casey in hospital, and I'm sure you will take them. I hope too that you will bring back a county trophy to Duhallow. You have the experience, you have the ability, you have the football. It is our wish on behalf of all of us that you will carry the Duhallow flag high and perhaps bring us back a county trophy. And now it is my privilege and pleasure to present Jerry, your captain, with the trophy. Congratulations.
It is indeed a great honour to accept this cup on behalf of a Rockchapel team. And I played with a few down the years, but I think there is no team that has come out of Rockchapel that has given as much commitment, as much preparation, as much of their time and their effort, as much of their money to go into winning this championship as any team has done before us. To all the players and to the subs and to all the people concerned with the Rockchapel GA, a very sincere thank you. To our selectors, Din Mahoney and Shawnee Pickett in particular, who I don't think between them have missed more than a handful of training sessions since last February. Their commitment alone is an example to all of us. To a man who couldn't be with us today, he's having a problem with a little ball of his own. It's in his kidney. I know that if anything is going to move it, I think this will. We sent him our wishes because he's very special to us. I think, even though he's not as involved as he has been down the years, his pep talks and his talks at meetings on Saturday nights prior to the big games as something that will live long with all of us. He puts something special into him, something that makes us feel very special. We won this, I think, today for him in particular. Finally, to a person, I don't know if words can describe him. The man, I think, would give his life for Rockchapel football. He's spent more time and more money and phone calls and physiotherapists and what have you to make sure this team is right today. I think there were times this year when he felt like giving up. Tears were not far from him when we weren't going well at the start of the season. He felt like throwing in the towel, but he stuck with it. And today we're rewarding you. Pat Curtin. Hip, hip. This has been a difficult championship for us. If you don't win three matches by a point and another one by 3, we've known we're in a championship. But I think today's game, there was times out there today and we thought we had it sewn up. They came back and they came at us again and we got another goal and we thought we had it. And they came again. I think we've had a lot of tough matches, but today was surely one of the best. They were very worthy finalists. It was a great game. And 3 cheers to Kanturk for a great match. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! And finally, for our sponsors, it's our first time winning them. I hope we'll have a few more wins out of them this season. To all the business people in Rockchapel, thanks very much. Thank you.
Lads, can you get a picture of the presentation of the cup there? If you just step back a bit, would you?
While the Rockchapel captain, Jerry Casey, there, recounting Rockchapel's tough year in the championship. 2 victories, 3 victories by a point and 1 by 3 points. Paying tribute to Kanturk for a great game, and now posing with the chairman of the Duhallow board and the delighted Rockchapel supporters for a photograph of the presentation of the cup. And so Rockchapel take this cup for the 5th time. Well, they don't take this particular one because this is the Dick Harnedy Trophy, which they took 2 years ago. This is their first championship victory. This is their 5th championship victory, and now, of course, they'll be going forward to the county final and hoping to bring that county title back to Duhallow.